Welcome back, boys and girls. I'm Mr. Albrecht, and today we're going to move into Unit 3, Lesson 1. Unit 3, Lesson 1. So a couple things you might want to have available would be your workbook and your reader nearby, because we may not use them today, but we'll have them available if we get to a point where we need to grab them, okay? So let's take a look. We're going to be looking at our learning targets today. The first one is I can identify the different spellings of what sound? The A sound. The A-E in combination like that makes the long A sound. And also being able to read some tricky words. Now we're not going to see the traditional yellow tricky words, so you're going to have to look for these tricky words this time to see where they are. And I'll help you point them out when I get to them. All right, so this week, first lesson in Unit 3, we have a new spelling list. So we're going to go over those, and we're going to be looking at words that have the R-controlled vowel. So can you think and remember back to what those vowels are that are R-controlled? I know it's kind of like confusing when I say R and R-controlled, but got to think about it. I bet you said the A, the O, and the E. You were right, okay? So we're going to look at some words in our spelling list that are ER, some words that are OR, and some words that are AR, and then we have our tricky word. All right, boys and girls, this is going to be found in your workbooks on worksheet 1.1 is your list of these words, okay? I have them up here on the screen. We're going to go over them, but if you need to refer back to them, 1.1. All right, so for ER, we're going to look at the words like sister, letter, expert. Notice that we have the ER and we have some two-syllable words there, so kind of keep that in mind. We have the OR as in born, sports, and short. Then we are going to be looking at the AR, mark, started, and backyard. So kind of keep those in mind because we have had these letter spellings, these R-controlled vowels, back in Unit 2. And then our tricky word is sum. Remember, what's tricky about that? Don't spell it S-U-M because that has to do with math. We spell it S-O-M-E, and it's tricky because remember the E usually helps make that O long. And in this case, it doesn't. So it's a kind of a rule breaker. All right, so practice these words each and every night, okay, so that you get good at them. If I showed you this letter here, what sound would you say it makes? I heard you go, ah. You're right. But let's look at some words here that have this ah sound. Apple, ask, ant, actor, astronaut, ambulance, antlers, alligator. Now, this is the short vowel sound, like we hear in alligator and ant and astronaut. This A is also seen in flat, hat, clap, and snap. And remember, we've already colored in our short A sound, and most of the time, that A, that big power bar, is making that ah sound, as in pat. So you've got that one colored in. Now, the other one that you're going to see is, remember when we looked at all these words with the A consonant E, as in ace, bake, cake, and case? These all make the long A. Okay, so the long A sound is being made here with that magic E on the end. Some more examples. Name, cave, lake, game. And we've already colored this in our individual code charts. So remember, these individual code charts are there for you to go back and reference for when you hear that long A sound, think, how is that long A sound made? And one of the ways it is made is with the A consonant E, or that separated digraph where we see that E helping that A say its name. So let's look. There are several other ways that this long A sound is made, and throughout the course of the next few days' lessons, we're going to learn a few more of these. So you're going to pay really close attention to our spellings for the long A sound and keep track of them in your individual code chart as we move through them. All right, so today we're going to focus on this A sound. So we're going to start to think of some words that follow this A sound, that make an A sound. Let's look at a couple examples here. Notice here we have the word play and the word rain. What do you notice about these two long A sounds? They're not made with just the A. They're not made with that magic E on the end. So you should start to see, hey, I've got a Y making the A sound, and over here I've got an AI making the A sound. Mr. Albert, how am I going to know which one it is? There are tricks and you will learn them, but it's also just seeing words and thinking about what makes sense too. Because you've seen a lot of these words. So we see them in our brains, and our brains say, hey, it's probably an AY, or hey, it's an AI. Sometimes we just have to write them and look at them and say, hey, that's the right way. Here's another example. Day, still using the AY, but now look at this one. Wait. Now, if I cover that W, what word do I have? If I cover that W, I have 8, like the number 8, right? So this E-I-G-H together is also making this A sound. And we're going to see where that ends up in just a few minutes. I bet you that's going to be a tricky word. So let's think of some more words, and we're going to put these on a chart. I've done a good chart for you, but I bet you that you could think of many other words that could fit in my chart that you're going to see. Take a look. I've got the A consonant E, which we learned in the last unit. So we have words like same, lake. Then we have words that have just an A. Look at this. Baking, paper. Just the A by itself is making that long vowel sound. Now, think about why would that be in these words? If some of you out there are saying, syllables, syllables, it's in the first syllables, open syllable. Some of you might know that already. This is a 2-syllable word, and that's because that's A is before the first syllable, bay, king, pay, per, okay? Because sometimes you might have seen that even in first grade when they split the words up with the dots in between them. Then we look at this AI, words like rain or wait. Then we move over to the AY, and we have day and say. And then we have what we call odd ducks. Now, odd ducks can be considered tricky words too, because notice that we have this EA as in great. That's kind of tricky, right? Because EA, sometimes we think of that as may say E, but we don't go greet. That has to be 2 E's to make that word. Then how about EY and is in hay? Ooh, okay, that's like hey. Not the hay that the horses eat. That's H-A-Y. That would go back under here. We could write that word there. So this is the hay as in hello, right? So we got E-Y making an A sound. And then we have that way or wait or eight, that E-I-G-H is also considered an odd duck because we don't necessarily see that a lot either. All right, so let's stop there and let's take a break, get up out of our seats, and just get some movement going, okay, before we get into the rest of this lesson. So first thing I think I'm going to have you do is just take a stroll. Now think about that long A sound I just said in the word take, right? Let's just take a stroll. You might just, even if you got space at your place, you can just take a stroll kind of right around your work location that you're working at, just to get out of your seat and get to moving a little bit. Swing your arms back and forth when you stroll, kind of get that blood flowing. That would help. And now, stop and rub your stomach. Rub your stomach. Can we pat our heads at the same time? Okay, if you can't do that, try to reverse it. Maybe you can rub your head and pat your stomach. I can't do it. Yeah. Now, if you're in a learning location that doesn't involve others around you, this one's going to take a little noise. But I want you just to start twisting, kind of like you're just exercising or dancing, twisting back and forth. And if you want to practice that EY, that long A sound, you go, hey, hey. And maybe even wave at the same time, right? Twist and wave at the same time. That's kind of hard to do. But you could be doing something like that. If it's quiet, if you can do it. If there's someplace you need to have a learning location where others are around you, don't go yelling, hey, okay? Because we don't want to interrupt them, okay? All right, good job. I saw a lot of you out there twisting and shouting. Have a seat. Let's get moving, because I'm going to introduce you here to something that we're going to see in Unit 3 and pretty much for the rest of the year. You might see it in your classrooms. And when we look at it, it's called a spelling tree. Kind of looks like a tree right here, right? And we're going to take these and we're going to work on 2 today. We're going to work on the A and the A, the short and the long A trees. Now we're going to see these trees and we're going to start to help them grow leaves, okay? So let's take a look. Got a little empty tree here. Looks kind of forlorn, kind of bare, and we want to put some leaves on this. Now, every tree has a spelling label on it. And that label is going to tell you the sound that that tree is supporting. And when we look at this tree, this is making the A sound. And the A sound is going to be on every branch we can add leaves to this tree because there's that many. Remember that power bar back there? It was big, full power bar. You're going to see why, because this tree is going to be full of leaves by the end of the year because you have a lot of short A words. Let's look at some of these words and just kind of read them off and put the leaf on the tree, okay? So this first word is sand. So we're going to put that over on our tree. And in this tree, it's not going to matter because all our major branches are going to be this short A, okay, like it's labeled down here. You'll see on the next tree that might change a little bit. Look at this one, back. We're going to put that on the tree. Grab. Grass. Woo, that one flew over here. Cat, short A. Snap. Fat. Chat. Mask. And finally, raft for today. So look closely at the word fat. Remember that consonant, vowel, consonant combination we've learned? That's what's making that short A. So a lot of these words, if not all of them, right, have a consonant, vowel, consonant. Even ch, at. Remember that ch, at. 3 sounds in that one, right? All right, so let's look at the A tree. The A tree is labeled AE because that's what's giving us our indicator for long A sound. And look at this one. This one has a branch for an A by itself that makes the A sound. A consonant E, or A space E, or separated digraph. Your teacher may refer to it in any of those ways. That is going to also be a long A. We have AI. That's a whole branch too. We have another branch over here that is AY. All of these are making this long A sound. So let's take a look at this word, stay. So if you were in the classroom, what branch would you put this on? You'd have to look at the tree and say, hey, it has an AY in it, so I'm going to put it over here on the AY branch. So let's look at the next word. May has an AY in it as well, so I'm going to put that over here on this branch again. All right, let's look at the next word, paper. Don't get tricked up on this one because we have A consonant E in the middle. Remember, this is a 2-syllable word, so you're going to hear that A sound in the first syllable, paper. And we call that an open syllable because it's pay, there's nothing closing it off, and then per. All right, let's look at acorn. Acorn, again, 2 syllables. That A by itself makes that long A sound, so we're going to put it on our long A over here all by itself. Next word is claim. I'm going to take ownership of something. I claim that pencil is mine, right? That might be a word you're not familiar with. That has an AI in it. AI, so we're going to hang that up here on our AI tree branch. Next one is rain. So then we're going to look again. That one you probably know very well. And that we have a long A sound made with the AI. Goes back up there. And this one has a separated digraph, that long A made with that magic E on the end. So we're going to hang that on the A consonant E branch. And that last one's the same, name. We have that vowel, consonant, vowel. So we're going to put that right there. All right? Now, so let's bring in some odd ducks. And we have Great the duck flying in here. And great, as I said before, is a long A word. But normally we think of that EA as in the word read, as making a long E sound. So that's when be kind of considered an odd duck. Maybe kind of a tricky word for us to spell. We look at the word hay as an odd duck because we said, again, remember, we think of AY as making that long A sound, but now we have an EY. And our third tricky duck here is way, and that's that EIGH. So you have 3 odd ducks that we can remember to think about very carefully when we go to spell because we hear the A sound, but it's not made in our traditional way, okay? So those are going to be our oddballs. So today, can you identify those different A sounds? Even the tricky ones maybe? You're starting to see that A is going to be a little bit troublesome for you. That's why you got to pay attention and you got to make sure your individual code charts are up to date and you're filling those in because that's going to be your reference tool when you go to spell something and you hear that long A sound. And then also being able to read those tricky words when you're reading is also important to say. That makes the A sound when you read. So I look forward to continually working with you on these tricky sounds and making our trees grow together. But we're going to stop here today and we'll come back and visit again soon. And I look forward to working with you. I'm Mr. Albrecht and this has been Skills Unit 3, Lesson 1. Bye-bye.